viewers, welcome back to Desert DIY. If you are new here, my name is Corey and today we are doing a fun and kind of silly project, turning this weird bench that came out of a restaurant that closed down. I got it for free. But we're going to turn this bench into a farmhouse beautiful bench using just some paint, some power tools, and some elbow grease. So I can't wait to show you how I turned this into something beautiful. Here's a close-up of the silly faces that are on the back of this bench. The restaurant it came out of was a place called Chewy's, and for some reason this location closed down, and the people who were going to be buying that space didn't want any of this stuff, so they just left it out on the curb and told people that it was free for the taking. So I was actually out of town when this happened, and I saw somebody post on like Got Good Bones or one of those Facebook pages where people sell and share cool reclaimed stuff. Somebody posted that it was all out on the curb for free, so I texted my parents and said, "Ren, get over there, pick up whatever you can," and this is what they got me along with some other things. So I cannot wait to show you the cool ideas that I have for this piece. You will not believe what it looks like when I'm done with it. The first thing I'm going to do is take this power drill and use it to take off the screws holding on this surfboard. If you don't have a power drill, it's not a big deal. You just put some muscle into it and use a regular screwdriver. Easy peasy. I turned the piece around so that I can cut... Sounds weird, so I can cut off these heads on the back of the chair. But I'm going to use some clamps and a 4-foot level to draw a line underneath all these pieces, and then I'm going to use a jigsaw to cut them off. If you have somebody that can give you an extra hand, then you wouldn't need these clamps. That's the only reason I'm using them, is because it's just me out here and I can't hold this up and draw the line at the same time. I've got my line drawn, and now I'm going to go ahead and take my jigsaw and cut a line across here. This jigsaw is a Rigid brand. I've been sort of happy with Rigid. Some of my Rigid power tools have been great. Some of them I've had issues with and had to have them repaired. Luckily they have like an in-home warranty on these pieces, so when Home Depot sells you a Rigid, you can register online for their warranty, and if anything happens to it within a certain time frame, they should fix it for free. If it was a damage that was caused by like misuse or something like that, then you'd probably end up paying for the repair yourself. But as a general standard, Milwaukee tools are my go-to. I would prefer to have all Milwaukee tools. They're just pretty expensive. Rigid's more affordable. I believe that Rigid is made by Milwaukee. I'm not sure though. But either way, if you can get Milwaukee, get Milwaukee. So I've just got a standard wood blade on here. I'm going to turn it on. I don't know why, but I felt a little bit like the Queen of Hearts on Alice in Wonderland, like off with their heads. Off with their heads. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and get my sander out, and I'm going to sand all of this to be nice and neat. I'll give you a close-up though. I've got my sander plugged in and ready to go. This orbital sander is just a Harbor Freight sander. I don't spend tons of money on sanders anymore because they just go out. I don't know why, but I think I spent like probably $30 on this sander, and it's been lasting me for a while now, and it was cheap, so if it does break, I don't feel so sad about it like I did with my Craftsman. That was very expensive and only lasted for one use. So I'm gonna put this mask on because when you sand, it's kind of annoying to get sawdust up your nose, and it's probably not very good for you either. I got my masks in a big pack from the dollar store, and the sandpaper is a more tough grit. It's a 120 grit. If I had an 80 grit, I would have used an 80 grit because this right here is a really rough spot to sand, and you're going to need something tough to sand it before you go over it with a more fine grit sandpaper like a 220. Okay, now it's my favorite part where we get to paint the piece. This is where you get to see the real transformation, and I have a really funny story about where I got my paint from. So this big 5-gallon bucket of paint is actually all recycled paints that we picked up from my sister when she was fixing up her house to sell it. She had a bunch of leftover paint colors like turquoise, purple, tan, gray, tons of white paint. We mixed it all together into this big 5-gallon bucket because, for one, you cannot throw away a gallon of paint with wet paint inside it. That's against all the garbage rules in Arizona. So you can't just throw it in the trash can because it's like hazardous waste. So you either have to let it dry out and then throw it away, or you have to take it to the recycling place where they will dispose of it the way they're supposed to. So instead of worrying about all of that and to be more eco-friendly for myself, I decided to mix them all together and see what color I got, and I actually got a really beautiful color, and a lot of these paints were exterior grade, so I'm hoping that they will be nice and durable on this piece, because this piece I'm going to put outside. So as you can see, it's like a gray-blue color, perfect for my love of the farmhouse style. And instead of wasting a paint roller, like, what are those things called? The little things you roll your paintbrush on? I'm just going to get it straight out of the bucket. I'll probably need to do 2 coats with this. And you can hear my rooster in the background. His name's Birdo. He's very friendly. We thought Birdo was Bertha for a long time until he hit his second puberty, I guess, and found his voice and started growing. I feel like it's like frogs, you know how they can turn into a male or female at will? I'm pretty sure that's what my rooster did, because he was a she through and through for like the first 6 months of his life. What do you think of the color? I love it. So much better than this orange color, although this orange color, we do actually have this paint color on accent areas in our backyard. So it could have been cool, but it's just kind of yucky and dingy from being used in a restaurant. So I did a second coat on the back and then flipped this around so I can paint the front now. But there's a ton of sawdust on the front, so I'm just going to use my shop vac and vacuum it all out and then get to painting. I did 2 coats of paint on the whole piece, top to bottom, and it's dry now. And now I'm going to add some more farmhouse character to the piece by adding in a big wooden rooster. So this rooster used to be a black, dark looking wood color, and I spray painted it a blue similar to this blue, and it was hanging in my daughter's room, but she didn't want it anymore, and the blue was too close to this color. It didn't stand out well enough. So I just quickly spray painted it white. My spray paint that I usually use for good coverage is a Rust-Oleum. It's the paint primer put together, and you can usually get them on sale. I think they're usually, when they're on sale, they're like $3 a can, I'm pretty sure. And I'm going to sand it to where the old blue color comes through, and then I'm going to screw it on to the back rest of the seat. So I'm just going to use the same sandpaper that I used to sand the piece earlier, just to save on products, save some money, recycle. I'm going to shabby chic it, or give it a rustic look. When I was painting this rooster, I kind of nicknamed it Blue Roo, so that's all I'm thinking about as I'm sitting here sanding the Blue Roo. I'm going to screw on my rooster from the back side of my bench so that you don't see the screws on the front of the rooster. The screws I'm using are just upcycled screws that I've taken from older projects, or they came with something and I didn't end up needing them, anything like that. I keep the screws because I will use them again for projects like these. I'm going to use my Milwaukee drill and screw it in from the back. Here is the original fake leather black cushion that went on it. I'm going to actually cover it with a drop cloth to lighten it up and give it more of a farmhouse look. And it's going to look pretty good and feel a lot better on your butt when the sun's beaming on it. It won't burn you. I laid out my drop cloth on the cushion, and I'm not going to sew this on. I'm just going to tuck it in so that way if it ever gets yucky, dirty, whatever, it's going to be outside so it's going to get dirty. But I can just take it off and throw it in the washer and then put it back on. I'm going to cut it to size though. The fabric is still wrinkly, but time and rain and everything else will get those wrinkles out for me. But what do you think? This looks nothing like what I started with, and it only cost me the materials it took to make it, which most of these I already had on hand, so I didn't spend any money today, but I did spend money when I bought the materials, like this cloth here, the drop cloth. I think I spent like $2.50 on this big wooden chicken at an estate sale. And then the white spray paint, I barely used a quarter of a can, so we'll call that $1. So, and the paint was free. It was all reclaimed paint from my sister's house when she was fixing it up to sell it. So this project cost me maybe $5 at the most. I want to say thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed my project. Me and Blue Roo are gonna go cool off and drink a Gatorade. Thank you so much, and if you liked the video, please like and subscribe and comment down below and tell me why you liked it. Have you done something similar? Do you like to thrift things? Do you have projects like this that you just have been sitting in storage and you can't figure out what to do with it? Have you ever upcycled anything from a restaurant? Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.